everybody, I'm Kathleen Moniaci. Welcome to my studio. Today we're going to talk about enharmonic equivalents. When you hear that, are you scared? Let's make some sense out of it, shall we? To the drawing board. Okay, we are going to start by just reviewing the difference between a flat and a sharp. So flats, we're going to use blue for flats. Flats lower pitch by what we call a half step. A good way to remember what flats do is what happens if all of your tires in your car go flat. The car goes down. So flats, lower pitch. Now, sharps. We are gonna use orange for sharps. Sharps, put this over here. Sharps raise pitch by what we call a half step. A good way to remember that is what happens if you are going to sit down in a chair, but there's a sharp tack in the chair. You go to sit down and you go up. So sharps raise pitch. So in band, you've probably played a B flat. That's like a B, but it's just a little bit lower, what we call a half step lower. Or maybe you've seen an F sharp. That's like an F, but it's a little bit higher, a half step higher. Now, let's talk about this enharmonic business. So I have written out here all of our natural notes. These are actually all of the white notes on a piano. So like if you went and you played all of the white notes, this is what you would be playing. So let's add some of the black notes of the piano. We are gonna start actually with sharp, so we can go from left to right. So what does a sharp do? It raises pitch by a half step. So let's start with C. If I wanna raise a C by a half step, we get a C sharp. So we've raised it, but not all the way to D. C sharp is in between these two notes, okay? Let's do the same thing with D. If we want to raise D by a half step and get a D sharp, we're not raising it all the way to E, we're going in between, okay? For now, we're gonna skip E and F. For now, F, if I wanted to raise it by a half step, it becomes the note in between F and G, and so on and so forth. Now we're also gonna skip B and C for now. We will come back to these, I promise. Now let's take a look at our flats. So we're gonna go in blue. We're gonna start on this side this time. So B, let's say we wanna play a B flat. We are going to lower B by what we call that half step. And so it becomes this note that's in between A and B. Now there is actually only one pitch in between A and B. So A sharp and B flat, they are the same note. They sound exactly the same to our ears. You would play it the exact same way on your instrument. You'd put the exact same fingers down because they're the same thing. That's where enharmonic comes from, or enharmonic equivalent. Let's do another. Let's say I want to play an A flat. So it becomes this in-between note here. There's only one pitch in between A and G. We can call it an A flat, we can call it a G sharp. You're still playing the exact same note, it's just named differently. So moving on, we could play G flat. There's only one note in between F and G here. So it's the exact same note. Again, we're gonna skip E and F for now. Okay, I have my black marker. Now, what I'm gonna do is that is starting to look like a piano, isn't it? On a piano, you have 2 black keys, and you also have a grouping of 3 black keys. We are now going to talk about these 2 spots, right, so that we were going to skip. Now we're going to get to them. These are kind of our weird zones. If I want to play an E sharp, there is actually no in-between note between E and F. They are smack dab right next to each other. So if I want to play an E sharp, I'm going to go directly to F. These are the exact same note. They occupy the same space. It's the same pitch. Let's do the next one. So B, if I wanted to play a B sharp, there's no in-between note. B and C, they are smack dab right next to each other. So a B sharp is actually a C. Same note, it's just called something different. It's just named in a different way. Enharmonic equivalence. Now let's do our flats in these 2 weird zones. Okay, so blue for our flats. Let's say you want to play a C flat. Oh, there's no in-between note. Directly to B. So C flat is the exact same note as B. They sound exactly the same. F flat. There is no in-between note to go to. So F flat, we go directly to E. Same exact note. So I hope that enharmonic pitches make a little bit more sense now. Really all that you need to know for your instrument is this. What does a sharp do? What does a flat do? And all you have to memorize is just that E and F are this weird zone and B and C are this weird zone. And as long as you know that, you're good to go. Now, there is a reason in music why sometimes we might call this a B, sometimes we might call it a C flat, or sometimes we might call this an F sharp and sometimes a G flat. And it really has to do with music theory. And so that's a whole nother discussion, but there is a reason for it. A good rule of thumb to keep in mind is basically sharps and flats, they don't play nice together. They're not friends. So if you're playing a piece of music in B flat, you're gonna see flat accidentals throughout the piece. It's gonna be really rare to see a sharp in there. And vice versa, same thing if you're playing a piece in, say, D. You're gonna see mostly sharps and rarely flats. For playing in band class, you just need to know what pitch am I supposed to play, as in what fingers do I press down to make the correct note. So there we have it, enharmonic pitches. Ta-da! So I hope that makes more sense. If you guys have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. And you're also going to find a worksheet in there to test your knowledge. All right, see you next time.